What would you recommend to OIC workers around the nation regarding empowering our youth to get involved? We serve a lot of youth in a network. And so when we're talking about breaking the generational poverty cycle and getting them engaged, how have you done that? What does that look like for us? What would you say?
Well, one, I'd say that I'm incredibly impressed by many of the young people who are out here in communities doing great work at this point. Many of them are leaders in their own right. And I think as a result of the technology age and all the other things that has happened, unfortunately, to advance our young people a little bit faster than really they need to be. They're exposed to so much information, the things that my son is 22 and 21, he'll be 22 in March, and the things that he sees and understands and knows, and has been for a while, ever since he's had a cell phone, which, these kids generally have technology very, very early. He's steps ahead of what I was prepared to discuss, because of that access. And so these young people are really truly, in my judgment, brilliant. And many of the movements that I'm involved in and the efforts that I have been calling myself leading, it's really been the young people who have been pushing me, and being much more courageous. As I'm now 40 years old, I see what they mean when they say that as you get older, you get more wisdom, and then that wisdom sometimes turns into being a little bit too cautious about every single move you make. And these younger people, they push me. They tell me, well, we need to go harder. We need to do more. Maybe we should look at things in a different way. And it has actually helped to increase my courageousness on the ground. And so that's the first thing I will say, is that the young people who are out here are very, very impressive. And I think the second piece, in terms of what OIC and all organizations can do, is really to center those young people's voices at the table and allow them to be the ones to help lead the discussion on what the needs are. It doesn't mean, and I think, we have this problem that we run into whenever we talk about this sort of generational divide, where people believe that because we're asking someone else to have a seat at the table, it means that their seat disappears. It does not mean that. And in no way am I suggesting that our elders, and those of us who are sort of in an older generation, don't have to be at the table, because our wisdom is what keeps these young people from getting killed, as far as I'm concerned, while they're out there on the ground. But I don't believe, and I think this goes for more other areas, and other very important areas outside of just dealing with young people, but I think it's dealing with disenfranchised folks, marginalized communities, that many of the tables we have built really are not led by the voices that we claim to be working on behalf of. And I think that once we get to a place where we're able to center the most impacted, that at that point, we will actually be able to, one, empower people to feel like leaders, so that they are more inclined to keep coming back to the well, to keep drinking the water. But also, it helps us to secure future generations, and to really set up what is needed going forward. I won't talk too long, but my pastor tells the story of how he visited a church, and when he was there at the church, he said, he looked around and it was packed. Every seat was packed, people all throughout the building, and everybody was old. And he said, older. He said there were no young people there. And he told the pastor later on, your church is dead. It's beautiful, it's full, you have everything that you need, but you don't have young people, which means you can't live. There's no legacy. There's nothing to pass on to. You have to find a way to ensure that younger people are at the table and a part of the congregation. The pastor asked him, well, how do I do that? And he said, don't ask me, because I'm older. You need to ask the young people how will they want to get more involved, and let them lead the way to bringing other younger people to the table.